From 1948 to the year 2000, the number of jobs grew 1.7 times faster than the population did in the United States. But from 2000 to 2014, the population grew 2.4 times faster than jobs. Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Work Week, made us realize that a Filipino worker could be working on your spreadsheet while you sleep. And now AI can do the same job in seconds. As this accelerates, how will you stand out? Hi, I'm Sam, and I explore systems that will help us achieve more than we ever realized was possible. The word brand comes from the German brand, which means fire, and this relates to the practice started by Egyptians in around 2700 BC when they would brand their cattle. So if their cows were ever stolen or lost, they could work out who the rightful owner was. And of course, the word brand has expanded today to mean more than just a logo. With millions of brands now around the world, companies need to work even harder to stand out. In his book Primal Branding, Patrick Hanlon identifies 7 elements that make a really successful brand, which is what we're going to go through in the video today. The first element of a successful brand is the origin story. So every company was built from something somewhere. So it might have started in a garage like Apple Computers or an idea on the back of a napkin. Those origin stories are potentially really interesting to your customers. With a brand, you're essentially trying to build trust with your customer. And you can't do that if the customer doesn't know anything about you or where you're from or how you started. Real characters have real problems, and that's what helps people relate to you, because everyone has problems. So it helps when you're telling your origin story to be honest about the mistakes that you might have made along the way. I've always noticed this with Jack Daniel's adverts. If you're ever on the tube in London, you'll see these big adverts on the side of the tube which have really small writing and go into a lot of detail about how Jack Daniel's was started in Tennessee. It paints a really detailed picture of the origin of that company. If you're trying to create your own personal brand, think about what your origin story is and how you would tell it. Where have you come from and what do you stand for? The next element is the creed, and the creed is what you're trying to achieve and what you stand for. So if you think about Nike, their creed is just do it. And Apple had their famous marketing campaign, Think Different, which tells you something about who they are as a company. Think about Starbucks, for example. They've created this idea of a third place, which is not your home or your work, it's somewhere in between. And it helps explain what the ethos of the company is. Patagonia, for example, have a really strong creed about protecting the planet and sustainability. And Ben & Jerry's are really interested in human rights, and you can read all about that on their containers. If you're creating your own personal brand, what are you trying to achieve? What's the message that you're trying to put out into the world? The third element is icons, and icons are not just logos, although that is a part of it. So you can think of the McDonald's golden arches, the Nike swoosh. Icons could also be smells of a particular product. It might be the sound that you hear on an advert, for example. It might even be a particular look. So the Beatles had an iconic haircut that everyone can recognize, and the band Kiss have iconic makeup that you associate with them. These are the sensory elements that immediately make you think of a particular brand. So what could your icons be? Could it be a logo, a sound, or a particular look? The fourth element is rituals. And rituals are those sort of interactions with the company that you might have. So it might be the way that you book an airline ticket, for example, or it might be the way that a hotel greets you. It might even be the packaging and the process of opening up a box. Think about Apple that focuses on this really well. How can you make those interactions as positive as possible? And if you are a brand, what do those interactions look like? Is it the way that you greet people? Is it the way that you respond to people who contact you? What is the lasting impression that you will leave with people? The fifth element is pagans, and think of pagans as your opposite. So Coke has got Pepsi, for example. The Republicans have the Democrats, Google and Apple. There's always a kind of rival, someone who is against you. You don't have to be actively confrontational with your pagans, but thinking about what you are not helps you think about what you are. The sixth element of primal branding is sacred words. So these are the words that people associate with your brand. Or your group or your community or yourself. If you're a marathon runner, for example, you know what it means to hit the wall. If you're familiar with computers, you know what it means to log on, or if your computer gets a virus, or if it crashes. These are all particular words associated with that whole process. If you're a customer of Starbucks, you know the difference between a tall and a grande cup of coffee, for example. You probably have words already that define you that your friends will know. So think about what they might be. The seventh element of primal branding is the leader. So this is the catalyst, the risk taker, the visionary at the head of the company or organization. So think Richard Branson at Virgin or Elon Musk at Tesla. These are the people that are instantly recognizable as leading that company or organization. And if you're looking to create your own personal brand, then this will be you. If you put all of these 7 elements together, you get the belief system for a brand. Some companies are really good at some of these elements, but less good at others. The really good companies are the ones that deliver on all 7 elements of the system. Think of the brands that mean something to you. In all likelihood, they will have all come from somewhere. They will stand for something, which is the creed. They're all symbolized by a sign, a sound, a smell, which is the icon. You do certain specified things regarding them, the rituals. Certain words evoke that experience, those are the sacred words. And you can contrast that experience with other experiences, the pagans. They will generally also have an individual, doesn't always need to be real, who is behind the whole thing, and that's the leader. At the end of the day, we all feel like we want to be part of something that is bigger than ourselves. So these 7 elements of the primal branding system come together as the belief system. And the idea is that that can then help to create a community. When people believe in something, they seek out other people or organizations that think the same way. Your job is to tap into that. So we've looked at the 7 elements of the primal branding system. Have a think about how you can apply this in your world to create your own brand. Think about your origin story, your icons, the words that you say, and how you interact with your customers or your wannabe customers. Think about what you believe in, what you look like, what your image is, because all of these things matter to your customers and your consumers. These are the things that will help you stand out in a crowded marketplace of several other million brands. In a world where AI is going to be able to do lots of the work that we currently do, people are realizing that it's going to be more important than ever to create our own identities and our own brands in order to stand out. Hopefully some of these 7 elements can help you to do that. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.